It's great to have you here. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is self-perception. And I want to help you understand how your self-perception is going to help you get ahead in career and in life in general. It's really what is going to help transform how the world sees you, because you're going to transform how you see yourself. Energy matters. If this is the first time that you're coming across my content, it's really good to have you here. Hit like and subscribe and follow me. Make sure that you get alerts to any new content that comes out. But my name is Gemma Lonsdale. I'm a psychic medium and life coach, and I actually worked in the corporate world before I embarked on my spiritual path. I was a recruiter and headhunter. I had my own recruitment business, and I also spent a period of time working in the tech industry. Now, I want to take you back to my corporate life and share with you a personal story of something that I had experienced that really made me aware of how people perceive me because of how I perceive myself. I was working in an organization as a business development manager, and I was responsible for bringing in new business and then bringing extra money from those new clients. There was a couple of us in the team, more than a couple to be fair, but one of my counterparts was a male who I felt like I really modelled myself on, because we almost seemed to be at the, he nudged above me on the league table, I nudged above him. So I felt like I was battling with him a little bit. I'd also watched him get opportunities in the workplace that I felt I was being denied. Now, he was already being paid more than me. And in this particular instance, in this year, I was aware that he had been considered for a pay rise and had got more money again whenever I hadn't even been considered for a pay rise. Now, being the sort of person that I was, I wouldn't normally rock the boat. I wasn't really the sort of person that would have spoke her true words. I held a lot in. I was a bit more timid in the workplace. I didn't really use my voice to the full capacity that I should have used it back then. However, in this particular instance, I was very irked by what had happened, and I felt it was very unjust. I didn't go to my direct line manager. I actually went to the more senior manager within the organisation, and I called a meeting directly with him. And I sat down and I said, look, this is what has happened. He has got a pay rise. I haven't even been considered. He was already getting paid more than me. What has happened? And he said, well, he deserved it. He's done really well. Now, I was always very good with my figures. I knew my numbers. I knew my stats. I could make the numbers talk. If you wanted a report done, or you were looking to, pitch investors, I was always the person that would be able to spin that story. So I came prepared. I knew my numbers, and I actually sat down and I had the sales figures from the previous year. I had the breakdown of all of the employees, and in particular, I had the information on the detail between me and this guy. Now, what the reality actually was that I had brought in more money. So I had made more money, more revenue for the organization. And that's what we were targeted on. We were targeted on revenue. So I had brought in more revenue. And not only that, I had actually brought in more new business. For those of you who aren't familiar, whenever we bring a new business client into the company, there is a lifetime value that they're expected to have based on, the data from that organization. So every new customer that we bring in, we expect that we will get additional revenue from that customer over a period of time. So I was actually more valuable to the organization because not only had I brought more revenue in overall, but I had also brought in more new business customers, which meant a longer term revenue for the business, additional revenue. So regardless of who that client might have got passed off to, I was making more money for the business because that is where it came from. And he didn't know that. He wasn't aware of that whenever I talked to him about those figures. And actually that was quite surprising because it really made me aware of the fact that the decision that he had made had not been based on the facts. It had been based on perceptions. He had a view of how he viewed different people in the organisation, how they perceived them to be, how they perceived the performance to actually happen, how capable they maybe perceived the person to be. And in this particular instance, the numbers hadn't come into it. How you are perceived in the organisation that you're working in and in your career field makes a big difference. The reality was that whenever I looked at this guy, he was confident. He came in every day like he owned the company. He knew that he could do the job. He didn't need validation. He took charge. He had a very clear awareness of who he thought he was and what his self-worth was. Whenever I compared myself to that, I was very self-critical. I would have poked myself apart. I would have sought reassurance and validation from my work colleagues, from my boss. I didn't have the same self-worth and the same level of self-perception as this guy. And it showed in the salary review. It showed because I had this flawed self-perception of who I was. And that meant that actually the people around me seen that. That's what they seen in me. This person who worried about, am I doing enough? Am I enough? Am I capable enough? Oh, well, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. I wasn't confident enough. I didn't use my voice enough. They seen that version of me because that is how I viewed myself. Because this guy viewed himself as someone who was super confident and probably a bit arrogant and cocky, to be fair, he was viewed as someone who was very capable and confident and overachiever. Because he viewed himself like that, the world that we worked in viewed him like that as well. Your energy and your self-perception is one of the most important things in business. And I'm not saying that your boss isn't going to look at your sales figures. I'm not saying that your investors or your bank manager isn't going to be looking at those numbers and making their decision. But perception is everything. There is a saying that I was taught actually whenever I first went into recruitment, and my manager at the time, she said, you dress for the job that you want, not for the job that you have, because appearances are important. Perception is important. What we often do is we underestimate the importance of the energy, because how you view yourself is often how other people are going to view you. I spent years wondering why I wasn't getting ahead as much as what I wanted in the corporate world. I watched people come in and climb the corporate ladder and get promotions and get considered for various different opportunities that I felt I was missing out on. And I could never understand why, because on paper, I was actually doing better than what they were. Now, whenever I actually talk about it as well from a recruitment perspective, because I have all of that as well as being able to see it happen in my own career, I'm also aware that it happened in other organizations because of the role that I did within the recruitment organizations that I worked for. We will always struggle to get ahead in the organization that we're in if we struggle with our self-perception. And actually, even if we don't struggle with our self-perception, it is often easier to move job and get that promotion and to get that pay rise. One of the reasons for that is that whenever you're in an organization, they see your flaws, they see how you are, they see you being super critical of yourself in year-end review or in your monthly, whatever, maybe you've been put on performance review or something like that. They can see all of that. They see your flaws. They see the reality of you and how you put yourself across in those organizations. Whenever someone else comes in for an interview from external, they come in like Billy Big whatever. They sit down in that chair and they are so sure of who they are as a person. Their confidence is coming through. The person that is sitting at the table opposite them, that hiring manager, is buying into that confidence. They're buying into their energy. So that's why whenever you are confident in who you are and what you're capable of, your energy will stand out and will get you ahead in life, not just in your career, but in life in general. So if you do find yourself getting fired, or you do find yourself pushed out of an organization, or you find yourself leaving because you are feeling undervalued and you're not getting ahead, you will be able to go and you can sit across the desk from someone else in an interview and be confident and feel assured in who you are, and they're going to really buy into that. They're going to buy into your energy. That's why self-perception is so important, because you can fake it in an interview, but once you get in through the door, you need to be able to keep that self-perception there. You need to be able to deal with the knocks. You need to know your value as a person. And I'm not saying the value of how you're viewing yourself now, because I guarantee that you're probably being overly harsh on yourself. You're being critical. Maybe you are leaning into others for validation. Work on your self-perception. That is one of the most valuable things that you can do. Get yourself to a stage where you don't need the validation from someone else. Get yourself to the stage where if your boss says to you you're not doing enough, you can say, "What? Of course I am. I am doing enough. Who are you to tell me that?" Get yourself to a stage where that is unsinkable, where it's rock solid. Because whenever you are in an unshakable position like that, that is where you're going to stand tall and strong, and your energy will basically enter the room before you do. Your self-perception is the most valuable thing that you can be focusing on in your business career. How people perceive you is going to be based on how you perceive yourself. So if you're wanting to get ahead, you're wanting to win new clients, you want to, be valued on the stage, whatever it might be, you need to see it in yourself first. You need to truly believe it, because if you don't, then other people won't. So focus on your self-perception. And that might mean that you're going to have to work on yourself a little bit, but that's okay, because the time is going to pass anyway. So if we start now, if you start working on yourself now and you start focusing on your self-worth and start picking apart all of those things that have this, flawed logic, that you're critical of yourself, that you're underconfident and that you need the reassurance and the validation, understand it all, focus on changing it, and you will change your career. You will have more opportunities open for you. You will get ahead quicker, and it'll even help you in your relationships, whether it's romance that you're after or different friends. It will absolutely change your life. So work on your self-perception. If you're really interested in more content that is going to help you with your self-worth and help you with your personal development, a really great place to start would be, first of all, my TikTok channel. It's a great place for short form content. And also my podcast, which is The Happy Psychic. They're both free to access. So that's free information that you can access straight away. If you're interested in more coaching, I do one-to-one coaching. I also have a group membership, and we focus on different bits of content on a weekly or 2-weekly cycle. So you can go and have a look at that as well. And it's a monthly subscription, and you can cancel whenever you want. And that would be a really great place for you to start. I hope that this has inspired you to not only work on your self-perception, but to realize the importance that energy can make, and how when we change our own energy and we change our own thoughts towards ourselves, the world around us changes, and people will start buying into that as well.